You hear me?
All right. Well, we are live. Hello, everybody.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Good to see everybody. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. This is another Thursday night get together. We got quite an eclectic international crowd tonight. It's really nice to have some people join us. So first of all, my name is Tim, and I'm from Meepleville in Las Vegas. And then we have all the way from Mexico, we have Oscar. So Oscar, if you would introduce yourself, tell people about your channel and everything.
Well, I'm Oscar Gonzalez. They call me El Doc Logan. I do board game reviews, mostly on video, but from time to time I try to write a little so I don't forget how to type. And well, I'm from Mexico, from Monterrey City. And well, what else can I say? I'm in Twitter, in Instagram, in YouTube, in Facebook, and yeah, almost everywhere. I'm not in TikTok because I'm not quite trustful of it yet.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people I know, they have that problem. And then all the way from Australia down under, we have Amy and Maggie from Thinker Themer. Introduce yourselves, guys.
Yeah, so I'm Maggie and this is Amy. We're an Aussie couple, and our YouTube channel is called Thinker Themer. And what we do is we do mostly board game reviews, and we look at it from two perspectives. The thinker, which is Amy, mechanics, which is all mechanics, and I'm the themer, which I'm all about story and theme.
All right, very good. And then we have Crystal joining us again. Hello, Crystal.
Hello, I'm so happy to be back. It's been a little while because I've been in the process of moving, and I am now in my new house. I apologize if it sounds really echoey. My office is a weirdly large room at the moment. But yeah, I am from the Board Game Blitz podcast, and I also am a video contributor over on the Dice Tower.
Very good. And last but certainly not least, we have all the way from Detroit, Dwayne. Hello, Dwayne.
How you guys doing?
Good.
Hi.
So I'm Dwayne. I have a small YouTube channel called Blackboard Gaming, where I chronicle teaching my wife about all these board games at the same time, teaching everybody else, families and such, about all these great board games that are out there.
All right, very good. So yeah, again, this is just a free, open kind of thing. I had a couple of topics just to talk about, but it'd be nice if anybody wants to start. What we've been doing on the on YouTube or in our content creation lately. Anybody got anything they'd like to talk about?
Well, I put up a video for Tracking the World. It was a Kickstarter that I got, and when I saw it, I knew my wife was really going to love that game because that's the type of stuff that she gets into, geography and traveling and all that. So I knew she would love that. And of course, before that, I did 5 games in my collection where you get to play as the villain from beginning to end.
So that trekking, isn't that the same people who did the Trekking National Parks?
Yes, same guys, Underdog Games.
Yeah, they're really lovely people. I think it's I don't know if it's his wife, might be his partner, but she came into Meepleville and demoed the game for me and showed a couple people, and they're really lovely people, and I saw them again at Gamma, so I wish them all the best with that game.
Yeah, Tracking the World is a beautiful game. Now, I haven't played Tracking the National Parks because it came out the same time as Parks, and I chose to grab Parks, don't have too much disposable income. So I had to pick one or the other,
There's always more games. The wallet always takes a hit. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and Parks is such a great game. The components are beautiful, and it's such a good play. Have you guys all played Parks as well?
I haven't played it yet. I've heard good things, though.
It looks beautiful as well, the components.
Yeah,
Parks is a beautiful game.
Good. And how about you, Crystal? What have you been up to on the internet lately?
Well, I've been playing a lot of a social deduction game that has kind of blown up over the past month or two called Among Us, which is funny because the game is not new. It came out like 2 years ago. And for whatever reason, the internet at large has all of a sudden just latched onto this video game. It's free on iOS and Android and only $5 on Steam. So it's really cheap. And I think once someone discovered it, they told all of their friends. But it's just a social deduction game where up to 10 people are little people on a spaceship. And a certain number of them are imposters who are trying to kill off the rest of the crew. It's neat. It's animated, so it's not as like gruesome as you would expect a video game with that subject matter to be. And the two things that I like about it compared to other social deduction games are that there's no player elimination. So even if you're killed off, if you're a good guy, you still have to complete tasks. And if you're a bad guy, you can still sabotage the ship. And the other thing that I always say that I like about this one, it's short. Like a lot of social deduction games, sometimes tend to drag out, especially things like Werewolf. And the games are really fast. So I've sat down and played a lot of it, and we streamed a little bit of it. I'm probably going to be streaming some more of it in the near future. But it's really fun. We released a new episode of Board Game Blitz today as well, where we talked about. We've been doing this thing that we got from the brothers Murph. It was their idea, and we stole it and ran with it, where we're looking at our 1 in 100 games, which that doesn't mean anything if you don't know what it means. But basically, we're looking at the top-ranked games on Board Game Geek, and we'll look at a grouping of 1,000 of them and pick our favorite from each 100. So like from 100 to 1 to 100, 101 to 200. So it's different than like a normal top 10 list, because in some groupings of 100, there's a lot of games that I really love. And in others, there's very few. So you get a very unique list that's unlike anything else that we've ever created. And it's been a neat exercise. We've now gone through all the way from 1 to 2,000. We did that in a couple broken up groups. It's been really interesting. And on today's episode, I also got to talk about Cartographer's Heroes, which is on Kickstarter right now. Yeah. I love it. It's so much fun. If you like Cartographers, go on to Kickstarter right now. Like, I swear, it's just more of the stuff that you already love. And it adds new things that are really exciting, too.
Instant back.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Money. Yeah.
And how about you guys, Amy and Maggie?
Yeah. So we got into, we expanded our socials. So got into Instagram and Twitter. We were trying to like just be extremely purist and YouTube only, and then quickly realized that's not going to work. Because it's like if you're trying to communicate with people, if you're trying to stay on top, like you need to be on the different socials. So and then the other thing that I tried yesterday for the first time, Ruel and Monique and Naveen from Before You Play had a live stream. And that was my first Twitch live stream, which as a senior millennial was terrifying because I felt so old. I had no idea what was going on with all the chats and stuff. I didn't want to touch anything because it was like, here's Bruno. Bruno's giving you points. I'm like, points for what? And it's like, cheer. Number one and what? So I just kind of stayed back and just watched everything and just kind of went, okay, I'm just gonna learn this time around. Yeah. What have you been up to? No.
Oh, yeah. And I got onto TubeBuddy. So
fantastic.
Oh, yeah. TubeBuddy.
Yeah. And now I understand why Tim is always like statistics and all of these things. And, you know, you get the little rating and our SEO ranking was like terrible. We're like, okay. And then, you know, started to look at other people's videos and what they were doing. And actually we spent a bit of time kind of organizing our channel so that the playlists are clearer, the titles are clearer, and, you know, working in all those keywords and all of that stuff. So yeah, thank you for sharing that last week. We no,
absolutely. Isn't it fantastic though? Because it really is there to help you. And I don't know if you guys saw, I got an email today. I'm sure you did too, about the click magnet. Did you get that? Did you see that?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a new thing they're adding. I guess you have to pay for it because, you know, if you get
I did see it. Yeah, I did see it.
Yeah, but so it's really, really good, and it just helps with all of the other analytics that YouTube gives you.
Yeah, it's really useful. It's just interesting as well, like to see when you look at different videos and to get all those numbers while you're watching. Yeah.
Here, this is look what Grant said about the stream you guys were on. I thought Rel might be showing up tonight too. So
It took me half the stream to figure out who Bruno was. And then I was like, oh, it's the dog. Okay, great. I have no idea what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's really good. And how about you, Oscar? What have you been up to this past week?
Well, mostly doing some courses, learning for the work onto Scrum. So I'm learning all the agile teamwork thing, and mostly that has been my week. Besides that, I have been reading rules of Bosque, 8 Minute Empire, what I have Dungeon of Fortune, that is almost the same as Dungeon Roll, but with not that many dice. So I'm playing High Rise whenever I have time and learning how the Tabletopia chief and control and all that things work, because I don't want to flip the table and all that. But yeah, learning. This has been a week of learning.
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah, I guess I just been up to the same old thing, trying to, do more videos and stuff, and still learning about how the whole YouTube thing works. It's pretty daunting, isn't it? It's yeah. You've been at it a while, but do you really do you do a lot of analytics and stuff, Crystal?
Not really. We do a little bit of that stuff, but we don't do, so the YouTube stuff that I'm involved in is more on the Dice Tower and not on our own channel. So as far as like YouTube goes, the analytics aren't necessarily something that's in my part of what the Dice Tower does. I know Tom looks at that stuff, but for me, it's just making the content that is fun for me, and then it ends up being fun for some other people. But yeah, we look at our download stats and things like that for the podcast, and we try and keep track of that stuff. But for us, growth isn't and hasn't ever been our primary goal. Just creating good content that we think adds something to the board game space, and growth has come naturally as a result of that. But even after 4.5 years, we're still small potatoes numbers wise when you compare us to things like the Dice Towers podcast or the Secret Cabal or things like that.
Yeah, I can't keep up with a lot of those people. I know they got.
And honestly, I think one of the important things for content creators specifically is trying not to compare yourself to other people, especially people who have been doing it for a long time, because if you have something of value to say, you should say it. It doesn't matter whether 3 people watch it and get value from it or 3,000 people watch it and get value from it. If you are providing something of value, then that's awesome. So I think that's important, especially for new creators starting out. And it's something that I've stuck with my whole time. So I'm never, when I create anything, it's not about the numbers for me. It's, am I happy with what I created, and do I think it provides something of value? And if I've achieved those 2 goals, then that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I'm learning slowly but surely. Like I say, I love TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is like a blessing. It's helping me keep track, and I'm learning. I learned about the tags and the cards and all that, and I'm like, oh, okay. I went, and it tells you what you can do to your video to make it, more accessible to your audience. And I've been trying to put all that stuff in practice. It's an organism. I know it's always changing, and I'm just trying to stay on top of it.
No, yeah, and I agree with you 100%, Crystal. I mean, it is true. You have to do stuff you're passionate about, you love, and then the people will come to you, and they will gravitate towards you, of course, naturally, if you put out good material and all that kind of stuff. However, to me it's sort of hand in hand, right? Because with a tool like TubeBuddy and the YouTube analytics, you really want to put out sort of the best product and to enhance it so you can get more viewers. Because if you think your stuff is the greatest stuff in the world, why wouldn't you want more people watching it, right?
Right. I'm honestly kind of bummed at myself, because when YouTube was brand new back in 2005, I was a double major English and mass communications in college at that point. And I hopped on the YouTube train watching YouTube videos right off the bat. I was very excited. And I am the type of person who could have easily created one of those first YouTube channels and turned that into something gigantic eventually. And so I'm bummed that I didn't like, I was literally making videos as part of my college projects. And I'm so bummed that I didn't like start making YouTube videos at that time. Cause man, like if I had gotten on the train in 2005, like I would be bigger than Tom Vassell at this point.
There you go. Yeah.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hey.
Welcome, Jason. How you doing? What have you been up to this past week?
Me?
With YouTube, yeah.
Okay.
Your content.
Well, I had Amy and Maggie on my show.
Yeah, that was our first.
Yeah.
Tim, thank you very much for linking us up. That was very fun, and I got some good comments out of that. I always have a good time. I'm doing this project where I'm playing through all the Tiny Epic games. I have more Tiny Epic coming just because I have a collection. Like that's kind of how you start, right? Just start with what's in your collection, and then eventually the games come. And then collapsing in a heap. So
there you go. And James says hi, Jason. So just wanted you to show you that. So
hey,
Jason, what's your favorite of the Tiny Epic games so far?
What's that?
What's your favorite of the Tiny Epic games so far?
Galaxies.
Okay.
That's like the standard one because I was like, it's funny because there's like 9 of them or maybe 10 at this point, and then Galaxies was like the second, and it's like, that was not as good as Galaxies. Oh, that was pretty good, not as good as Galaxies. Okay, I'm gonna go play. So no, that's been fun. I mean, I'm a psychotherapist in my real life, so like that's basically like most of my life. So people are going crazy. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Crystal, my I don't know, condolences or like congratulations or I'm not sure, like maybe both.
It's all of the things for me right now. Yeah,
things, right?
like literally, like it's divorce sucks. Moving into a new house is exciting, everything. But this year is weird for everyone. So in a way, I'm kind of glad that like it all happened this year. So then we can all just write 2020 off at the end of it.
Right.
Just be like, you know what? Let's just forget that happened.
Well, as a marriage counselor, I will say I hope that you get through everything. So.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That is one of the reasons why I'm collapsing on the floor. Is a lot of marriages are being pushed. You know where.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Everybody's home. Everybody's home. Get away from each other.
What's fun about mine is he had decided far before the pandemic and then told me the first week of the pandemic, like literally the first week that we were supposed to be quarantined together, he was like, oh, by the way. So it was not the pandemic that caused it, but it did keep us together for a long time.
Fun time. Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah, and again, that's why, because like you guys in Australia, right, Amy and Maggie, you have like healthcare, right? Free healthcare or whatever.
Yeah. Universal healthcare, yes.
Yeah, and that's why like mental health, right? Because especially with this pandemic, when everybody talks about healthcare, right, they always just think physical, and they don't think about mental. And man, let me tell you, with this pandemic, there's going to be a lot of people suffering. I mean, even people like me, right? I think I'm a normally stable person, but let me tell you, it's you can only get so far, right?
Right.
Very confronting in a lot of ways, which has been it's been good from a reflection point, because it's sort of forced us to look at a lot of things in our life, and I say, like, we have very strict lockdown laws, so in terms of very few reasons where we're allowed to leave the house, and yeah, I'm an introvert homebody, so for me it was like I've been preparing for this my whole life. Like,
right. This is great.
Is not at all.
No, my whole world came crashing down.
Yeah,
It's just like, what is happening? Yeah. Missing socialization. It's been almost 6 months here in lockdown. 2 hours a day now we're allowed outside.
Great for board gaming and content creation.
Yeah.
So when you say 2 hours a day, do you mean like you can go to the supermarket, right, and the pharmacy and stuff, or?
Yeah, that is one of the reasons why you can leave. The other is exercise, but for no more than 2 hours total. It was 1 hour for a very long time, but now it's just turned into 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And you can't go beyond 5 kilometers, which would be, I don't know how many miles.
I don't know how many miles that is, but it's basically
3 miles.
Yes, you can't leave 3 miles away from your house. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's smart, though, obviously, as is evidenced by, how bad things are here.
Yeah. We're down to very few cases. Now, I think today we had 11 cases total. That's not deaths. That's just like cases.
Yes, cases. Oh.
Wow, that's 1% of the great job that's going on here in America. But we won't get into that.
Yeah, well, that is happening all over, at least. Well, here in Monterrey, we don't have like measures with like don't go out or you have a strict amount of time, but they say, okay, you cover your face and try not to be out and keep your safe distance, but that's it. Well, the parks are closed. Were closed. They are reopening little by little. Restaurants were like 50% capacity, or preferably just pick and go. Same for movies. Well, movies, they are starting, I think, last month, but we have not got down on cases. I heard of people that didn't leave the house, that watched everything, and they are getting sick as well. Because there are people that needs to go out, and that is causing still problems. So yeah, it's been hard.
Where do you live, Doc?
Monterrey, Mexico.
Okay.
So how do they in Australia? Do they, like, you guys have different hours? Like, I mean, I know they don't pick 1 hour, then everybody comes out on the street, and then like the next hour, everybody goes back in.
Very difficult to police that. It's more like if the police see you going out multiple times, then they can give you a fine. And I think at the moment the fine is like $1,500 if they catch you. Yeah, but if you gather
board games, that is.
If you are found to have people over to your house, it's a $5,000 fine for each person.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Family members?
It's
other households.
Yeah.
Not your own household, but family members. Yeah, you can't see your family even if you live close by.
It's very complicated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway.
Is it weird that I'm jealous of that? Like, that obviously sounds really horrible in a lot of ways, but like, I just know that if we had done similar things here, we would be so much better off, and so many less people would have died. Like,
from a point of keeping cases down, keeping the deaths contained as much as possible, it really did work. But obviously the impact to everything else. So now we have, like as you were saying, with mental health, like we have access to 20 sessions with psychologists that are subsidized by the government, heavily subsidized. So like that sort of stuff, it's pretty good. But anyways, I'm mindful that like we've been talking about this for a while. It's like, let's talk about board games. So depressing.
Well,
I mean, there's a lot of really awesome games on Kickstarter right now. Like, holy cow.
It started to really open up again,
Yeah. Amy's the Kickstarter queen in the house. I only keep up to date when I'm like watching her summary. I'm like, oh, that's what's happening on Kickstarter. That's interesting. Yeah.
Spending all the money.
Yeah.
I think it's neat because it's giving, especially smaller board game publishers, like, obviously I think they kind of waited a little bit to see how the pandemic was going to shake out. But at this point, they can kind of safely say, okay, we're going to be able to make this thing, and getting the funds up front via something like Kickstarter, I imagine, is a real boon for them to be able to, okay, we can still keep paying our employees and we can make this cool new thing and get it to people when it's safe to do so. So I'm really happy that exists, because without Kickstarter, I imagine a lot of these smaller publishers, I mean, I don't know what they'd be doing at this point.
Yeah.
But the problem with Kickstarter to me sometimes is it's happened quite a bit where, and I get it, right? You're a small company, so you need your money. But, like sometimes people who don't contribute, like don't back the project, will get the game before like somebody who does back the project. And I understand with logistics how it may not work out for that small company, but still it's kind of like, that's the point. Like, Crystal, you're right. I mean, that's the point. We're doing it to help subsidize you, help support you. But I feel that you need to make sure that the people who subsidized you and supported you get the product first.
Yeah, that's what happened recently with the Marvel game from Come On, right? Like, it's been out in stores for a long time, and the Kickstarter backers are just now getting their copies or something.
Really?
Eric Summerer was talking about how he just got his.
Yeah, and for a company like like a big company, that's unacceptable. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's
I mean, come on.
Come on.
Big companies like Camelot shouldn't even be using Kickstarter. Like, you know, what's Fantasy Flight doing on Kickstarter? What Hasbro had a Kickstarter recently? Like, what the hell are you doing on Kickstarter? You know,
well, it's not a pre-sale system for them, but they are securing what they need to sell. So they say, okay, let's say 1,000. We made it down 1,000. Okay, start printing. That's it.
Takes the risk away, or a bit of the risk.
I mean, I'll admit I kind of used to have the same mindset, but I get that the margins in board games are smaller than in a lot of other industries. And so, especially for a company with a proven track record that you know they're going to get the game to you at the end regardless, I don't necessarily mind larger companies going to Kickstarter, specifically because it does allow them to gauge the interest level for a specific product. And even big companies have flops occasionally, and big companies, you know, have underrated gems that just get discovered. And I think if they go to Kickstarter, then people aren't necessarily as mad about stock levels after the fact, whether they're too few or too many. Like, I mean, we all saw with Wingspan with Stonemaier, which was not a Kickstarter game. They had to do how many print runs right back to back to back to back because they just didn't know that there would be that much interest for the game. And people were really upset about it. It's like, what do you expect? You can't print a whole box of components on a whim. Yeah. You can't just assume that a game about birds is going to blow up like that. I mean, it should, for the record, and I'm glad that it did, but yeah, like, how would you know? So I don't really mind when larger companies go that route, especially if they also make the pricing appealing for the consumer by going that direction.
Yeah.
Also, something that you can think good about big companies like Hasbro, Common, etc., going into Kickstarter is that the regular people that didn't went to Kickstarter before now can go, and when they go, they will see the smaller publishers. So that is like a free ad kind of service, maybe.
That's true.
That is the ops thing.
It's kind of the opposite because, like, when those companies, they're like, it's like the bad year blimp, right? When the bad year blimp comes floating in, it clouds out the other ones. So like that month, you can't launch Kickstarter. You know, like the month that Simon comes out and they have Zombicide or they have Marvel United or whatever, like that's where people's dollars are going. and they're really expensive. Like Marvel United, that was like multiple hundreds of dollars to get everything, which most people like do. So like, you know, it definitely eats the budget. So like, and it doesn't really leave a lot left for like the smaller people. Like you listen to, I've done a lot of like, you know, Kickstarter interviews. Oh, they've always been on Kickstarter. Yes, you're right, but why are they still there? Maybe Stegmaier got off of Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's interesting with GameFound now moving into the space. I don't know if you've seen that they're trying to, I guess, crowdfund from within their system now instead of just being a backer kind of fulfillment service. Yeah. So
what do you mean, Amy? What do you mean? What are they looking for funds for?
I think they're doing the same thing. So you can put up your games through GameFound to be crowdfunded. And I think they've tried to overcome some of the pitfalls of Kickstarter, like being able to add in, you know, when you have add-ons, but you can't add that in to your pledge and that kind of thing. So, and also, yeah, I don't know, bits and pieces. Jamie Stegmaier actually just wrote a whole thing about it. I know that he's quite like moved away from Kickstarter now, but he was talking about kind of alternatives to Kickstarter. And I think it's really interesting that GameFound, which obviously would have benefited a lot from Kickstarter, is now kind of moving in to compete in the space.
Well, yeah, you have to evolve or die. So yeah, I heard about that. GameFound is doing like their new Kickstarter kind of thing, and well, since they have all the experience of what Kickstarter can do and what they have been doing, that could be a big jump.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if it brings the crowds.
Yeah, but so you're saying it's going to be a totally separate company like Kickstarter? They're competing for board.
Like they're crowdfunding. It's funny how like Kickstarter becomes synonymous with crowdfunding. Kind of like how all copy machines are Xeroxes, and you know, it just kind of like gets the word. So yeah, I think it's a whole like Indiegogo or GoFundMe or something.
Indiegogo, yeah.
But that might be good if GameFound is doing it specifically for games. Like I didn't know that. I didn't hear about it because maybe they can hold people more accountable, right? Because Kickstarter doesn't necessarily hold people accountable if they like take your money and run away with it, do they?
Yeah.
Maybe if GameFound is going to be game centric, only board games, maybe they'll be a little bit more. They'll be able to regulate it more and hold people accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are games that are 5 years old and people haven't seen even a piece of them.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know that one. I'm still waiting for a couple. I'm like, where's the game?
Which one got you?
Yeah, and there's no excuse. For example, like Jasco, I'm waiting for Street Fighter. That's like 2 years old, I think, and that's a big company. And that's what I mean. Like, I don't understand. Like, if you're a big company like that, that just seems like a major failure if you can't produce. You know?
I mean, 2 years is nothing, dude. People are waiting there 5-6 years.
No, I understand, Jason, but what I'm saying, Jasco's like a big game company. You know, if you're a little Joe Blow like me working out of my garage or something, and I'm trying to produce a game, yeah, I can't meet it. You know, I can get that, but like a major company, that I don't know. I just
Yeah, you think they have the infrastructure all ready to go. It's just like
the best is when they launch another Kickstarter and they haven't like fulfilled any once.
Yeah, James is lost. He said 2 in limbo. I've got about 3 or 4 too that in limbo. And that big one wasn't it? What was it? What's the Glory to Rome? Was that a Kickstarter or no? That whole big thing, that debacle.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people lost money with that. You know, so.
I do.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting though that and I think it's neat that Kickstarter has allowed for really unique takes on gaming that probably wouldn't have been possible any other way. I actually just recently got a review copy of the Blinks game system. Do y'all know about this? I am obsessed right now. Like these little tiles, I don't even know if you'll be able to see with my light on if these are lighting up, but like
I see shape.
Yeah, they're all these little hexagons and they light up. And if I turned off my other light, you'd probably be able to see it more easily. I wonder if I can put it. No, it's my light's blinding it out. But like,
what's the point of them, Kristen?
So they're a board game system. They're magnetic and they all stick together however you want. And each one in its memory has a game in it. So like this one is Flick Flop. This one is Zen Flow. So every single tile has its own game and it can teach its game to the other tiles it is connected to. So when you turn on all of them, here, I'm gonna actually turn off this light back here and see if I can get y'all can see me. Hold on, let's see. The screen. Can I get it? Nope. It's really hard to see.
Light up, yeah.
But like they're lit up, and then you basically there's a specific pattern on the button on the top of the button thing that you hold, and then one tile teaches all of the rest of the tiles it's connected to its game, and then you can play. And the games are a wide variety of different things. Like there's area control, there's dexterity, there's speed games, there's like everything you could imagine. Some of them are definitely better than others. But they also, I think they have open source with the like API for these. And so you can technically, if you have the skills, you can design your own games for them. And they're coming back to Kickstarter pretty soon. They've had a couple of successful campaigns. These are not cheap. I don't know how these would get made any way other than Kickstarter. But yeah, they have 2 new games that they just sent to me. And I have a total now of 14 tiles. So I have 14 different games that I can play. And it's just so unique. Like there's no other game like this. Like setting them out on the table and doing all of this stuff and then this is small. I have 14 games right here. Like how
how crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's that
I could show them off better.
It's like the amount of competition as well that's on Kickstarter. And, you know, the encouragement to add more and more exciting like add-ons and unlocks and things has really pushed board games further probably than they would have normally without it.
Yeah.
I find that now more demanding of a game because you start like it's like the bar is just kept going higher and higher. And so now sometimes you get like a game from a good designer, a good publisher, and it's like,
yeah,
like by itself, it should be great, but because the bar is so high now, this is now just meh.
Yeah, you cannot see just cards. You need to see the cards. You need to see some meeples. You need to see,
where's the pattern finish? Like, where's the double layers? Like,
yes,
right? I'm the same way when I play with upgraded components, and then I go back to a copy with not upgraded components. And I'm like, I don't want cardboard money in it.
Yeah, but that's a good point you bring up, Amy and Maggie, about like the really good games. I was just thinking about that the other day because, and again, this is like a first world problem, right? Complaining about like so many good games. But I was thinking about it, and it's like, since a lot of the games that are coming out are really good, right? There's a lot of really good games. It's like you can never play them, sort of. I mean, I feel like for example, I'm having a game day tomorrow. I'm playing Snowdonia, Crystal Palace, and Keyflower. And it's like, okay, those games are old, and it's like there's so many, you know what I mean? It's just, you can't keep up. There's so many good stuff.
I even get that kind of guilt of like, if we're playing a game that we've already played before, when you have like the shelf of shame and the guilt of like, there's so many more games to like tackle. There's not going to be enough hours or days in my life to play them all. It's the struggle is real.
The shelf of opportunity.
Yes. Yeah. Overwhelming opportunity.
Wow, look at that. Paul had 127 games.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes. So in case, let me just say a little bit about Paul. So Paul and Teresa are a lovely couple. Known them for a few years now. Paul has a problem.
Paul
has a problem. He loves games, man. Let me tell you, he just.
This is a safe space. Hello, Paul. Welcome. You're amongst your own kind here.
He gets a lot of games. Oh, so here's a question from James. Do each of you prefer co-op games or competitive games? He said, what was your answer, Jason? Go ahead. Why don't you start?
I'm cooperative. I'm a social worker, psychotherapist. I'm a giant teddy bear. I don't want to. I mean, I can take some light competition, like I think of like Amy, like with the Euros and everything. Like it's indirect, right? Like I take that.
You hate Monkman.
Like dudes on a map, like that competitive. Like I'm gonna do a bunch of things, and you can just wipe off 75% of what I did. I want to build. I want to cooperate. I'm a big solo player. Co-op and solo kind of tend to go together. And like the best experience that I've ever had have been in co-op. Pandemic Legacy Season 1, amazing. Time Stories, amazing. My best storytelling experiences have been in co-op. So for a lot of reasons, co-op is my favorite.
All right. How about you, Dwayne?
I like co-op when I play with my wife because she's not a highly competitive person. So when I'm introducing someone to games, I prefer to go to the co-op side, so they can like, oh wow, we're working together, and I'm like, we're not going to get at each other's throats. But I also like competitive. So I mean, some of my favorite games are cooperative, like Spirit Island. But it's either or for me.
Right. Okay. How about you, Crystal?
If you have to force me to answer, I would say cooperative. But similarly to Jason, I also really like competitive games with low interaction. And it's funny because some people complain about those types of games. They're like, oh, this is multiplayer solitaire. And I'm like, I get to sit here and do things with my friends and not have us screwing each other over in the middle of the game. Like Mariposas is a good example of a recent title that, you don't affect the other players at all. You're just all playing the same game at the same time. That's the best. Like, I don't mind mild interaction, and I especially love when you have interactions that benefit other players when you take them. Like, oh, I'm going to do this thing, but now you get a thing too. That's also great. But like really mean take that style games are just not my jam because
I got that.
even like the most chill people occasionally get their feelings hurt. I am one of them. I will admit. But like I'm like I will never target you in a game until you've targeted me, and then all bets are off. Like
Maggie, tell her how to pronounce that game.
Mariposas. Yeah.
I can't do the R thing. I literally the way you put an R in my mouth refuses to do it.
Yeah, in our review, I was like constantly like the game name
Mariposas.
Mariposas.
If I refer to it going forward, I will just send people to your all's YouTube channel, and then I'll say, you know what? If you want it to be pronounced correctly, you should just go watch their videos because they're awesome. So,
well, Crystal, you can use the Australian version, which we coined Mazapaza.
Yeah, Mazapaza is how we would call it.
That's awesome.
And Australian.
Oscar, isn't that terrible?
Wow.
All right, Amy and Maggie, how about you guys?
Well, controversial. We don't really do a lot of co-op. I don't mind them, but I find that I get really stressed. I love multiplayer solitaire. That's like my absolute favorite approach. I get really stressed in a co-op because it's like I want to not force someone else to do the thing that I know is right and we need to do because I want to kind of give them the space. But it's like, yeah, I find that really stressful. And Amy loves.
For me, like I think about like Survivor, like outwit, outlast, outplay. Like there is going to be one person left standing, and that person's going to be me. You know, I was brought up with my mum teaching me chess, right? And she never let me win. So, games for me are just who can out-strategize the other person, who can think ahead the furthest. And
I hate take that, and it just like, it infuriates. And like, I'm a fairly chill person, but that's the one thing that I just, I'm like you, Crystal. It's like, if you go after me, it's just like, you're going to trigger.
How dare you?
Yeah. So that's why I think Euros are the perfect balance because it's still technically competitive, but you still are, just working on your own thing. And it's just,
yeah. It's more like a koi, haha, one up.
Yeah. I do the same thing, but better. Yeah.
Faster.
Yeah.
And how about you, Oscar?
I am 50-50. Depends on the people and depends on the game. I like co-ops, but I don't like the co-ops that have an alpha player because I don't like people. I mostly tend to show the games to people, to teach the games, and when there is someone saying, hey, do this, I don't like it. I like them to discover how they're going to mess the game and learn based on that experience. And what I like, yes, multiplayer solo, I like the Yokohama. You mess with the people, but you don't grab their throat. I don't like that. I have been playing Taken Knuckle lately, and I try to go for the strategy of just eat a lot. And I have a friend that says, okay, you know what? I won't play with you again. And the next day, do you want to play? But it's like my easiest way. If I eat, I don't mess with the parcels. I don't mess with the gardener. If I just eat, it's just one thing I'm messing with. So they cannot be mad at me, and they are still.
All right, I guess. Well, for me, it's funny, this cooperative thing. I've got a big sort of thing. I talk about this all the time, and I'm just a dry Euro guy. I just like dry Euros. But when it comes to cooperative, and I finally think I came up with an answer for myself the other day, and I guess we'll just use say Pandemic because everybody's probably familiar with Pandemic, fully cooperative game. The reason I don't like those, and I realize what it is, it comes down to trust. Because, for example, I love Hanabi. I love the game. So games that are fully cooperative, but you need to trust the other person, to me, that's true cooperation. If all the information is out there and anybody can just tell you the right play, that's not cooperation, right? To me, it's just a matter of trust. Oh, he did something horrible, but I don't know his hand, but I'm trusting that was his best move. You see what I mean? So that's what
I think that because I hear all the time, alpha players, why I don't play cooperative. I think that's a player problem, not a game problem.
Mm.
Like think about it. We've learned how to play competitive game for like 100 years, right? We've learned how to like not be true jerks to each other. Like you can, like in a competitive game, you could do like all sorts of stupid things, like Kingmaker, right? All right, I'm out of the game half the thing. I'm just gonna give all my pieces to my boyfriend or whatever it is. Like, and we know over time we've learned like kind of to tamp down those behaviors. But like Pandemic was 2008. That's not that long ago. But I think people are kind of still learning how to play co-ops the best. And I think I'm hoping we'll get to the point where like that's kind of like baked into the cake, like don't alpha, don't be a jerk like that. And I think like more games are kind of designing around that to mitigate it. So I guess I want to say like I want to save co-ops. I want to save the good name.
But here's my question about that, Jason. So how, like, because I've heard people say that before, it's a player problem. And I'm like, well, if it's a player problem, then inherently it's a game problem, right? Because it's kind of like which came first, the chicken or the egg. So if because here's my thing. If you have all the information there and say it's your turn, Jason, right? And you're about to do something, and like I'm just like, that is just not the best move or right move. If for me not to say something, now I'm not having a good time, why is that my problem, right? It's not my problem because I don't want to ruin your good time. You know what I mean? It's a weird thing, right?
I mean, I think it comes down to, and this is not just for cooperative games, but all games, like playing with the right people, like which one of you already mentioned. Like I believe... like there are a lot of games that I say I love this or I hate this or I really don't like this. I believe that I could enjoy any game when I played it with the right group of people. Yeah. I also believe that the games that I love the most could be horrible when played with the wrong people. So I think it's hard to pin the blame on either the game or the players at that point because we're all different. We all have different personalities and we all mesh with other people in different ways. It is a social interaction, and game designers can't account for every combination of personalities. So I think what's really neat is we now have so many different types of games available that like if, you know, maybe cooperative games aren't for you and your friend group, maybe a competitive game is, or maybe there's some kind of weird combination of cooperative and competitive that nobody's even invented yet that'll be even better. So I think that that's important to note, and it's really, you can't really place the blame on either side.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, that is. It's just I was really thinking about that because again, this is just a big thing with me because I don't like the alpha play either. I mean, I don't know if any of us do, right? I mean, it's just not a pleasant.
Unless you are an alpha player, like then you love it.
What's that?
Yeah, if you're the alpha player, then you're like living the dream.
I don't know. Like, I know alpha players who don't like cooperative games because they just get frustrated by everyone else the whole time.
Right. Exactly, right? Yeah. But like I say, like a game like The Game, for instance, is everybody familiar with The Game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So for example, like if I say to you, don't play there, and then the next thing you do is play there, I don't get mad. Because it's a matter of trust, right? We're trying to beat the game together. I don't know your information. If you did exactly what I told you not to do, I'm just trusting that was the only best thing you can do. And I love that because it is a matter of trust. And that I really enjoy.
Yeah. We enjoyed Betrayal Legacy, which even though we're not co-op players, because it had a nice balance of it's kind of co-op for a bit, and then it's like every man for themselves, and you don't know who's going to be the bad guy that you all kind of have to team up against. So I thought like for non-co-op people, that was quite a great experience. Yeah. Yeah.
Like Paul says, so Paul brought up a point here because like Paul is like one of those people because like I say, you know, Paul, like him and Teresa, I love them. They're great people. And he just like, he plays so many games. But here, like he says, he figures out the game in his brain.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to alpha if he sees inefficient play. So that means he's not having a good time now, right?
Yeah. I agree, 100% mine as well.
That's my stress. Yeah. I'm concerned.
Yeah. I think that's what's neat about all of us like on this little like weird journey as a board gamer is when you start off, you don't really know like what your games are. And so you play all the games and then you're like, well, this isn't right. And so I think that's what's neat is learning like, oh, hey, you know what? I don't like cooperative games, but then occasionally trying a new cooperative game, like to your point, Tim, like, and finding a different type of that game that does fit for you and knowing your own game taste is really important. And I think especially when you're playing with new people, being clear about specific expectations you have for how gameplay is going to go, like in a polite way, but like, for instance, like if you want to house rule something, like a lot of people in Hanabi sometimes eventually come up with a meta, you know, that they with their game group. And if a new person comes in and sees that, they might be a little bit off put or they might be confused. And so I think being clear with the people you're playing with can also help alleviate some of the issues that can come from some of that stuff.
Yeah, and I think sorry. I was just going to say about like staying open to alternative games. I think that's really important as well. Like I know that I'm a cooperative gamer, but man, I wish I loved co-ops. And so every time someone, you know, a great co-op comes out, I'm like, no, this is going to be it. This is going to be the one. Keep the hope. Everyone loves it.
Right, like, the crew. You have to play the crew, you know?
We have it, but we didn't want to do like it when we were looking at the 2-player variant.
Well, then you know what? It's in beta on Board Game Arena right now. We should play together.
Oh yes, let's do that. Yeah, 3 players. Yeah.
No, there is a new game. Cooperative is called Tranquility. I tried this like 2 weeks ago, and it's like the same, but with a board kind of thing. So you're placing the cards like with a Hanabi or with a crew or with the game. So you're placing the cards, and you have to do it in a numerical way. But I didn't get that long. We failed horribly, so I don't know what we did wrong.
Tranquility, Oscar. So that's a cooperative game with like hidden information.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, you have your hand of cards, and your cards have numbers, like in all the other games. So you are trying to put them on a board, but you need to go from start to finish. And depending, the thing here is that if you put a 10. And then someone puts a 12 next to it, he has to discard 2 cards because it's the difference between the 10 and the 12.
Okay.
But if you put a 10 and then someone puts an 18, and then after that it's a 20, you decide which one you want to discard. So you can discard 8 or you can discard 2. So you have to be doing this in kind of an order, but I don't think we did it right.
I gotta take a look at that. That's a really good recommendation, Oscar.
Tranquility, yeah, thank you. I'm gonna look that up too.
Yeah, it's on tabletop. Yeah, we had to play it there because of COVID.
Maybe she's talking to someone.
Yeah,
it was on Kickstarter, but we haven't received ours in Australia, so
Frank got it. Yeah. Yeah, Frank got it.
I looked it up on
was
like, the artwork is gorgeous.
I have it. Let's play it. And then like, how do we play it? Tabletopia. I want to play it. It's my new game.
Great.
Yeah,
all right, cool. So here's another topic. So I asked everybody to come up with a sort of a little list of you're invited to a party, okay, of 6 people, and the hosts know you're the game guru, the game person, and you have to bring 3 games. So I'd like to know what they are, and I want you to like give me your reasons and justifications why you're bringing those 3 games. Anybody want to start?
Okay. My first one will be Just One.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Just One, because I think that is just a great word game. It's hilarious. My next one will be Deception, Murder in Hong Kong.
Oh, that is good. I forgot about that.
Then my third will be like, you know, my favorite game is fall. I love this game, Mysteria.
That is good.
Yeah, those will be my 3 games.
And you want to explain why a little bit, Dwayne? Like, what are your reasonings?
So Just One is really it's cooperative, and it's a really simple game. You just got to come up you know, it's a really simple idea. Just come up with one word, but you got to make sure that that word is unique to you, but not so obscure that the person guessing the word wouldn't get it, you know. And I've done it with my family a couple of times, and they loved it. They thought it was really, really fun. With Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, it's just that hidden traitor or hidden, you know, the hidden murderer, and everybody, it just open discussion of why do you think this person did it, you know. And then with Mysterium, I think it is a great party game in a way, because, you know, the person playing the ghost, he has the hardest job, he or she rather, has the hardest job of trying to get these people to figure out their suspect, the location of the murder and what the weapon was. And I think, you know, the discussion that goes on around the table is really, really nice. So, I mean, those are the 3 games that I will pick that can fit 6 people, you know, and no one's left out.
Great choices. Yeah, really good. Who wants to go next?
We had a funny debate about who was coming to this party.
Yeah.
And like, I need to know more about this party. Do the people know each other? Like,
But Steve, no, but Amy, that's exactly what I was going for, because you don't, right? You've just been told, hey, come to this party and bring some games. So with that being said, you have to be able to, you know, whoever is there, right?
First off, and I would bring way more than 3 if I didn't know who was going to be there, because I would be ready for any situation.
Yeah.
Right. Got your backpack full of games. I think that we first thought about it as if all 6 people didn't know each other. And so we were thinking about what are great ways to break the ice. And I think for that, you need games where you can laugh at yourself and it creates this instant connection between people. And 2 games, I think, like Taco, Cat, Goat, Cheese, Pizza. I don't know if you've ever played that little card game.
Yes.
Yeah, right? It's so funny, and you're all doing this and doing like different things, and it's just chaos. And the other game that's like that is called Cumber, it was a random little Kickstarter, but it's like a tongue twister game. And you are simultaneously trying to pass this card from side to side while you're saying tongue twisters in the tune of Cumber Bar, Cumber Bar.
Yes, yeah, Cumber Bar.
Anyway, there's a pattern. And basically you lose as soon as you mess up that pattern, or you drop a card, or you... And we use that at parties where people don't know each other. And just as soon as it's done, there's a complete different energy. You know, like everyone is then pumped and ready for the serious game that you brought today. So like, okay, now let's get to the real game. Yeah. But yeah, that's a really fun one. But then other ones that we thought of were like Saboteur, which is a great game for non-gamers. Like, can kind of get their head around the deception, and people are yelling Saboteur at each other. And we had just one.
Yeah, can be confronting Saboteur if you don't know people to start with. Like, you are it. Like, not the best mood for the party, but yeah.
Okay, is that for both of you? Those games?
Yeah. It depends on the type of party, but yeah, if it was more gamer, you know, something like Cold Express is great because it has that table presence, and you know, it's fun.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go because Dwayne just won. I picked that too. That was on my list too. Yeah, James in the chat, he picked it as well. And the reason is because, like you said, Amy, right? If you don't know who's coming, then just one, you could still talk, right? It's not a game where you're focused or, you know, you have to be conscious. You can still have fun and communicate. I think Just One's fantastic. It's easy to learn. It's cooperative, so there's no bicker. Somebody else mentioned this in the chat too. Let me see who that was. My next one is Dixit. That was Jeremy. And the reason I brought Dixit, because again, Dixit is for 6 people. It encourages kind of conversation. So like, you know, if you don't know people, you don't know, it kind of, you talk and it encourages. And I like that. And then the last one I brought is a 6 Nimmt. Or Take 5. And the reason I brought that one is because the other ones are sort of, they border, just for me, They border between a game and an activity per se. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. But Six Nymph is sort of more like a game, because you don't know who these people are. And I think it's just but again, you can still talk, you can still have fun because you're not hyper focused. And I just think it's a great game that's quick and easy. So those are my three.
So it's tough to go last or close to the back because most of them have been mentioned, just one and all that kind of stuff. So I'll go a little bit deeper on the list. Then if I'm really ambitious and I'm like, I want to play a strategy game, which can go horribly wrong. One 6-player game that I think has the best chance is Viticulture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the turns are fast and it's intuitive. Like, put your worker, done. Put your worker, done. Put your worker, done. You can kind of get that done fast. And then it's a problem that it ends too early, but then in 6 players, okay, we're good, we're good. And we had that good strategy feel. I love co-ops. I have to have a co-op. Shadows over Camelot. Shadows over Camelot is, if you don't know it, it's it was Dead of Winter before Dead of Winter. So it's the Knights of the Round Table, and you're going to do things to the traitor in the midst. Shadows over Camelot in particular is that you can kind of pick it up midstream, or have somebody drop midstream and the game still goes.
Oh, really?
On having the player count, because I've seen people. It's not even a game, so it's I'm good. Somebody else want to come in? Yeah, come on in. Play Sir Lancelot or whatever. It's all right, cool. And then you guys took a lot of my silly games, the activity or whatever. It was one of mine. So I'm gonna go with Happy Salmon.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I've played that in hotels during meetups and conventions and stuff like that. Just okay, but we don't want to go to sleep right now. Let's play something quick. All right, Happy Salmon. Yay! Let's. There you go.
All right, who's next?
Okay, let me go before somebody else says just one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was checking a list and okay, I can do this. Okay, the people know each other. I don't care. Okay, let's say I go to a party with friends, but I don't know anybody there. Okay, first, just one. Just one is the game, obviously, because it's simple. I think it doesn't need to be in the language to work, because you have words, you have sometimes characters, so everybody knows the characters. Even Kermit, that used to be called Rene over here, said, "Oh, yeah, that was not my name. It was just weird, and my name is Kermit. Sorry." So the names are everywhere. So words are words, and you can say, "Okay, this is the word," and everybody will know the word, and then everybody puts the word in either language, Spanish, English. You work it out, and it's easy to learn, it's easy to explain, it's easy to play, it's fast. Also, I noted werewolves. I don't know if everybody knows this. It's werewolf, but with words, it's 20 questions, but with a werewolf roles. You can be either the mayor, you can be the witch, you can be the hunter. I don't remember the roles, but you can be some roles, so you can be helping or not helping. And so it's also a game where you are all active and trying to do something. And the tier one, because Among Us is really trending right now. Menace Among Us, that is a 6-player game where you are in a spaceship and you can be either trying to fix the ship or trying to kill everyone on board. So yeah. So there is another Among Us that was already in the board game. Menace Among Us is the game. I have it over there, another room.
That's awesome.
And because one has to be safe, I had a 4th game that is King of Tokyo, because it's monsters. Who doesn't like monsters?
Yeah, that's the great choice. That's actually the correct choice. Why did I pick that? King of Tokyo.
All right, Crystal.
Yep, I'll bring up the rear. So I've been taking notes. You all have mentioned a lot of great stuff that I will skip past, like Just One, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. But I struggled with just picking 3, as I already mentioned. But my number 1 pick is almost always Strike, which just got reprinted, and at least in the States is available in Target now. So I'm so excited that more people can get Strike. Technically, I believe it only plays up to 5 per the rules, but I have played this with 6 people a bunch of times easily. And also, I have happily sat out and let other people play Strike before, like while I just sit there and watch, because I just love spreading the love. I mean, it's epic gladiatorial combat in an arena. And anyone who tells you that it's dice in a bowl is lying. Not true. It's gladiators in an arena. So yeah, Strike is super great as far as like fun dexterity, silly, really easy to teach and learn. Another pick for social deduction. This is actually, it's kind of become my favorite social deduction game. I just learned it a year or two ago, but Detective Club is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does a thing that a lot of other social deduction games don't do, is it makes it easier to lie. Because a lot of social deduction games, the liars either have no information or very little information. You know, games like Spyfall, I think, are a good instance where if you don't know what's going on, you just feel kind of dumb. So hard. Yeah, it's really difficult. Whereas in Detective Club, you kind of have to like pick things blindly, but then by the time you have to explain yourself, you have all of the information that the other players have at that point, and you just have to justify the actions you previously took. So I think it's easier for the bad guy in that game to get away with things, and it's less stressful. So that one's great. And then I also, I actually added this to the list last minute because you want something that Amy and Maggie was discussing reminded me of it. It was a small Kickstarter game that is supposed to get reprinted at some point. I don't know if it will. It's called Call of the Wild. It would actually be fairly easy to print and play it, I think. I don't know if it's available online to do that, but it's do you all know of the game Dude? Like by, I think,
like Big Potato, right? Is it Big Potato?
Yeah, I think it's either Big Potato or something like that, where you're just saying the word dude in different ways and trying to match with people. Call of the Wild is similar, but better. And I like Dude, don't get me wrong, but Call of the Wild has these cute drawings of like animals on the cards, and it forms a food chain. So all of the animals eat one of the other animals. So you're making the noises of the animal on your card. So you're like aroo or cheep, and you're trying to find a match, but you can lie. So you can make a different noise than what's on your card and eat the other animal. So like you make the noise of the animal and then they flip it over and you're like, oh no, sorry, I'm actually this animal and I eat your card. So it's like everybody's making ridiculous noises and you're stealing other people's cards and it's just frantic and so much fun. And yeah, it was supposed to get reprinted, I think, this year, but I don't know if it's going to. My backup games on my list were Belrati, great cooperative game about art forgery, which is just a fun topic. Catch the Moon, which is great table presence as far as dexterity games go. And then my more gamery pick was Cartographers, because it can play an unlimited number of people. And it's not that bad to teach for a really kind of complex roll and write game.
Yeah.
All right, well, here's, let me see. So James, I'll go through what some people in the chat did. He suggested, nobody said Telestrations.
Yeah, that was on our list.
Too easy.
Yeah.
Or Las Vegas either.
All three of those picks are great from James.
Yes, they really are. And here's another one that's fantastic too. Jeremy said Resistance and Codename. Nobody picked those either.
Too easy. You can't tell content creators to like make lists like this. We're always going to do like the
That's true.
Right, like I burned myself out on Codenames hard after it was released. I haven't played regular Codenames in a long time. Codenames Duet, on the other hand, I will play anytime because it is amazing.
Yes. And here's another one that I think all of us, I actually think this probably should be above Just One. And Jeremy said Time's Up.
I mean, I'm more of a monikers gal than Time's Up, but yes, I agree that is a great party game.
Yeah, that's good suggestion. Yeah,
we'll go with Just One. I'm gonna have to take a Just One.
I own 2 copies of Just One because then I can play Just Two with a larger group of people.
Oh, there you go. And Paul's the gamer, so he went a little bit harder, kind of. He got Dixit on there, which I had also. Paris Connection. I haven't played that one. Ethnos, I love. Ethnos is fantastic, and that doesn't get a lot of press. I think Ethnos to me should have gotten more. You don't like it, Jason? No.
Talk about a game where like you're like setting up for something and then depending on how many people are around, like you're looking at it and going, oh,
it's hard.
I was gonna get those cards or that one card or whatever, and it's like, and you can end up with like nothing, and your score is just gimped. Oh my god, I hate that game.
Less than satisfying gaming experience.
I like Ethnos, but it is very difficult to
I forgot about Medium.
Yeah,
Medium is super fun.
Yeah, Medium's good.
Medium, yeah.
And I know Grant, he loves Colt Express too. He shows that to people all the time.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yep, somebody else said Medium, Detective Club. Oh, let me see. Here's something else. Oh, no, that was the wrong one. Here we go. Tommy, Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space.
That's a good one.
No. So much. No, that game stresses me out more than any other board game ever played.
That's good. You want to be stressed out. That's good.
No. It's good pick, but no.
Tim, if you don't know it, it's a hidden movement game.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so I think, how does it work, Crystal? Where it's
so everybody has like a dry erase pad in front of them that has all of the like spaces in the ship on it. Some people are secretly aliens, and you go around the table and you declare certain things publicly, but aliens are allowed to lie a little bit, and you're trying to figure out where on the map all of the other players are, but you don't know who's human and you don't know who's alien. And it, honest to God, stresses me out the same way that similar video games do, where you're sneaking around and just terrified of being caught by the alien. It's funny, I like some of those types of games, but not that one. And I just can't.
If you're a human, you're trying to get to an escape pod. Mm-hmm. And when you get to the escape pod, it might be broken.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that too.
So you get all the way there and then you're like, oh, I'm dead now. Yeah. I'm surrounded and I'm going to die. And also you're like making noises as well. Mm. And that's how like
tips people off.
Yeah, the aliens can find you. Mm. Yeah. We did not enjoy that.
It's kind of, you have like on your turn, you're going to be announcing a spot, like a coordinate spot. Mm-hmm. And like the humans have to tell the truth, I think, but the aliens can like lie. So then, the humans will say, I'm here. And then like I move 3 spaces or whatever. And everybody else is calculating, okay, who's where. And the aliens trying to hunt the humans because the alien will say, I attack this space. And if it's empty, it's empty. But if there's a human, it's like, so and you don't know, and you don't know. That's the issue. Like the aliens are hiding as humans until they can strike.
Mm-hmm. Has anybody played another game I just thought of was We're Doomed?
I have it, but I haven't played it.
I want to play it, yeah.
It's like an exactly 15-minute game, and it's kind of just a party fun. I think it's really cool, so that might be a good one. Roy said a Fallout Shelter.
Oh, that one's newer. I still haven't played it.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of it.
Not like right before the pandemic, maybe.
I don't know that one. I'm not a big video person either, so.
I love Fallout, and the original Fallout board game that came out was super disappointing. So
bad. It was not good.
I got burned hard by that game, man. Our first gameplay, I wore my Vault 111 hoodie, had dog meat sitting next to me on the table, had a Brotherhood of Steel banner behind me, and was wearing my Pip Boy. I was ready.
And you were more thematic than the game?
Yes, I was more thematic than that game by a long shot.
Has anybody played? I haven't, but I've never played it. Captain Sonar.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
8 though, isn't it? 8 people, or 2 captains that can double up. But that's hard. I remember we did play with a group of semi gamers, and they enjoyed it, but they're like, that was the most stressful, most complicated game of life.
Yeah, because Captain Sonar isn't to me. It's almost a little too fiddly, kind of, to really.
But it's good. It's that chaos of and you're screaming out orders, and you're like the other one's trying to listen, and so I feel like technically it's a great experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, the whole concept is fantastic because it basically took the game of Battleship to me, the basic one-on-one, and made it, 8 people, teams, and
it's a great one.
what's neat about that is if you have a group that's mixed of like more serious gamers and more casual, is a couple of the roles are easier to manage. Like I think the engineer and something, but like if you can get some people that kind of know what they're doing into the captain and the navigator or the one with the transparency, those two roles are definitely more difficult. And the other two are easier for a first time gamer. So I think you can ease people into Captain Sonar that way. But yeah, to your all's point, it's best with 8 people. And how often do you have exactly 8 people who want to play?
Now.
Yeah, no, definitely not now. You'd have to put plexiglass between the ships and between all the people on the ship.
Yeah, but with that being said, what do you guys think? That brings up an interesting point, Crystal. And, Dwayne brought up the Captain Sonar thing. With the level, actually, because you got the captain or the navigator, whatever, all the way down to the last person, is that last person having as much fun? Like, what do you think of games like that where maybe the fun isn't the same or the involvement isn't the same for everybody?
I think that I don't want to play a game where everyone is having equal, like, complexity. I think I want a game where, because I mean, there's not a lot of game groups that I know where everybody's the same level of like, tolerance for that stuff. So like, here's the newer person, here's the person's girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. They don't really play games, play that one over there. And I kind of like when somebody is differential like that. And then, I mean, the idea would be like, like variable, right? So like, okay, you play a simplified version of this thing, and then I can, if it's everybody's a gamer, then I can arc up the complexity, so everybody's happy. So I don't know if that's possible, but like I kind of like it when there is differential to accommodate a lot of different skill levels.
Well, and not just different for different people, but like there are days where I just got off work, I'm exhausted mentally, and I want to take on that easiest role in Captain.
Yes. Yes.
I don't want to be the captain. And then there are days where I'm more, full strength, and I'm like, oh yeah, give me the captain's hat, let's do this. So I like that games like that provide options, and so that way, even as me, like I can pick and choose what I want to do. But to your point, Tim, if everybody's kind of in the same headspace and they don't get that same level of experience, that can end up disappointing for some people. But I think in those instances, if the game is quick, okay, we're gonna play it twice.
Rotate.
We'll do this time, and now we're switching.
Yep.
Right, because I guess inherently that sort of happens with Werewolf in a sense too, right? Because everybody wants to be a character. You don't want to be just a vanillager, as they call them, right?
That's good. Werewolf makes me paranoid. I sometimes like when I'm just a villager, and I'm like, no, but I'm a villager.
Like, I don't have to lie.
Yeah. I get so uncomfortable in deception games if I have to be the bad guy. It's like,
I will admit though, some of my proudest moments in gaming have been pulling off like epic lies in social deduction games.
I also have a terrible poker face, and she can read it so easily, and then she'll like broadcast it to the table, and I'm like, I'm bound.
Here's another game somebody brought up for the party of 6, which I think is fantastic, is Camelot.
Camelot.
Yeah, we love that.
Oh, we've recently got Unicorn Fever, and I think that for us that takes over the Camelot space in our collection.
Oh, really? What?
How do I not know about Unicorn Fever? And dear God, how do I get it? Like,
oh my goodness.
What is that?
So it's a reskin of Horse Fever, which is essentially gambling. It's horse racing.
And it was on Kickstarter, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. But
I remember seeing it and being like, I need to back this. And then for whatever reason, I was like, ooh, I can't right now. Okay, yeah. No, I'm interested for sure.
Yeah, and so your unicorns racing over a rainbow. And because they can't help themselves. And then, yeah, but you can get these like giant, if you can, take out the giant miniatures. Giant miniatures is a bit of a weird thing, but it's these big, colorful painted unicorns. They're great, and it's so fabulous. You've got like leprechauns that are like you're borrowing money from, and you're getting into bad debts from leprechauns, and then you've got like magic cards that you can play underneath each of the unicorns, so that you don't actually know who's going to win the race. They all start with a set of odds, but you're manipulating that through tampering with magic. And yeah, so it's really fun, and actually looking forward to obviously getting a game group back together, because it's the kind of game that you would pull out at a party, because everybody knows how to gamble.
Yeah.
But now you're just gambling on unicorns and like trying to, mess up
the actual race component, because it's like you do all the bets and all of that sort of stuff, and then the race happens. The race is actually really genuinely exciting, like because it's all kind of happening with the moves, and then you're doing a dice roll for the sprint. So it's like there's really no way of fully predicting what's going to happen. And Amy loves to do the horse racing collar voice, and it's just like
coming down the outside, and all of that. It's just like, you can't help it.
Yeah, it's so good. So that's pretty good. It's a great experience.
So you guys are actually putting that above Camelot?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
For me, it's like on par. Well, no, yeah, it is a more exciting experience because of that race element.
The race is more like a horse race, so it's more like everything moving at the same time. So it's.
I feel like from a appropriate point of view, the Camelot is less gambly. There's more. It feels more like a game. Whereas Unicorn Fever is like you're placing odds based on like, if they place in the first 3 spots, or if they win, it's exactly like going to the racetrack.
Oh, okay.
Unicorn Fever is not a children's game, even though it's unicorn.
His baby basically an adult who loves unicorns.
I ain't doing onions.
No, somebody whispering.
Scallions, maybe?
Where's Wayne? Is that you?
No, that was the wife.
Well, Tim, I actually have to scooch out. I am, in the midst of actually trying to set up my house, and I've got a couple things I have to get done this evening. So I'm gonna scooch out if that's okay.
No, absolutely. Thank you for coming, Crystal. But real quick before you go, please just do us a favor and just let everybody know where they can see everything Crystal on the internet.
Well, if you want to hear me talking, or in written form, Twitter is the place to go generally. But yeah, if you actually want to hear me speak in a vocal sense, the Board Game Blitz podcast is what you'll want to find, which is in all of your podcast providers. And then you can see videos of me over on the Dice Tower. I do Dice Tower Tonight every 2 weeks with Eric Summerer, and we play games live with the chat. So you can actually participate in the show with us, and we have a whole lot of fun. Our next episode will be this coming Wednesday, so October 14th. Also, how is it already the middle of October this year? I'm telling you. Yeah, and then we also stream on Twitch. If you go to twitch.tv/BoardGameBlitz, Ambi and I have been streaming over there. Ambi is actually streaming Roll and Write games every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, which is in like 8 minutes. But obviously, don't leave this stream if you're here right now. But yeah, and then I'm streaming video games and board game content sporadically, hopefully more regularly in the near future.
Sounds fantastic. Thank you so much, Crystal. It was always great seeing you, and please join us as much as you can.
Obviously, I will be back for sure. And I love all of you. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Bye, Crystal. All right. So, so also we were going to talk about is what kind of games we have been playing like in the past week or two that have been new to us. If you guys don't mind starting, I'm just going to step out for a second and I'll be right back. So Amy and Maggie, why don't you guys start?
Yeah, sure. We watched the filler video, the top 10 fillers with Before You Play and Rado. Yeah. And so that led to a bit of impulse buying. And so we bought we've been playing Hanamikoji.
Hanamikoji.
The little card game. So we've been playing that like in the evenings quite easily while we tackle learning Pax Pamir 2nd edition.
We're still too scared. Like we're still learning it. It's still on the table. It's like, okay, we're gonna do it tonight. We're gonna do it. But maybe let's just watch another playthrough first.
We'll just watch one more playthrough. We'll just watch one more how to play. So we've been doing that all week.
I feel like it's not gonna be that complicated once we actually start playing it. But yeah, there's a bit of a mental block.
Have you guys played either of those?
I've watched some people play it. I was kind of I don't know, but I watched them play it. It looks pretty.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how what the play experience is like. I find that it doesn't matter how much you've played in the past. By watching a playthrough, you don't necessarily get the experience of what it's like when you're having to make those decisions. Right. If you've gone through the rule book, it's not until you're actually doing it yourself that you're like, that's what is good about this, or that's what doesn't work about this. Yeah. Right.
I have Kanami Koji, and I played it a lot, I think, maybe 20 times, something like that. So play.
Yeah, I feel like it's a game where you really need to understand the implications of the order that you take the actions. Like Hanami Koji. We were talking about.
That's like one of my favorite 2-player games.
Is it? Really? Yeah.
Great.
Really?
Well, I have a little what do you call it? I can't think of the word. I just love those like love letter, those card games with a limited amount of cards, and a lot of them are coming out of Japan, right? But Hanami Koji for a card game with 21 cards, it burns your brain. I mean,
it's amazing, and because most of the cards in your hand are going to end up on the other person's scoring side, so it's like hard to like wrap your head around that.
Yes.
We've been playing that this week, and setting up for PAX Premier 2nd edition, which is harder.
Yes, and like Jeremy said, the cards are beautiful in Hanami Koji, and I just discovered about 6 months ago when Hanami Koji was out that the Jixi Academy is the same skin, the same game but a different skin. So,
they're both beautiful.
I'm gonna drop a game and run. If that's okay?
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
So then I've been filming reviews for the Dice Tower, and then my review that's coming up next is a game called Far Away. It is a 2-player cooperative hidden information game. Speaking of hidden information, so like you have to have that trust. It's an exploration game, kind of like Robinson Crusoe, and you can talk while you're in the same hex, but if you leave the hex, you cannot talk, you get more lonely, you lose health, bad things happen, but like you have to split up in order to do stuff. So it's this kind of like dance of like, okay, I have to get together and like, socialize and, cure each other's loneliness and share resources, but then I have to go off and explore and do missions and like while I'm off them, I can't talk. So then you go back, it's like, how could you have done that? I can't believe Well, it gives you that like debrief moment, like in the middle of the game, where in hobby it's like you have to wait to the end of like, how did you do that 3? What do you think I was talking about? But you get it in the game.
That's good.
That little like that moment of like, what are you doing? And it's really interesting. I mean, for a whole bunch of reasons, but speaking of like to Crystal's point about Kickstarter, that's a unique game I don't think I would have played elsewise. Small company, they're taking a little bit of a risk with the game, and I really appreciate that. That was a good one.
Oh, nice. All right, Jason. Well, before you go, then go ahead and let everybody know where they can see everything, Jason.
I am on the Dice Tower as a video reviewer. I have regular games, and I also have my special series called Games for a Healthy Mind, where I take a look at games through the lens of mental health. I have a couple of those videos already posted. My personal channel is called Shelf Stories, emphasized playthroughs of thematic games. I've interviewed with super cool people. As you will see on there, my interview is with the Thinker Theme Gals. Tim, I got to get you on there at some point just to kind of have a chat about some stuff. Kickstarter previews, I got all sorts of stuff. So that's Shelf Stories as well as the Dice Tower. So thank you very, very much. I'll talk to you next week.
Hey, see ya.
Bye.
Right, who wants to go next, Dwayne or Oscar?
Let me see. Well, board games haven't been playing a lot. Mostly has been online. I learned how to play Seven Wonders Duel. I played Seven Wonders before. I had Seven Wonders the game, but Duel I never played, and now I play with someone from the Punchboard Media. And Lettyman sent me how the Squire for Hire.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a solo card game that you can play. So I got the app, and I suck. I tried to do like, okay, I need 25 points to get over and get the quest. 21. Okay, I can do better. 20. I can do better. 17. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, it's fun. It's like you are an animal, as a fox or something, and you, depending on what animal you get, you are trying to get different things like food. Usually the trash gives you negative points, but if you are the raccoon, the food leftovers gives you points instead of losing points. You can choose the character, or you can leave it to be a random one, and you are like, okay, I need, you have quests kind of. So you get into a, so you arrive into this cave, and this cave has a goblin. You can fight him, or you can give him money. Okay, give him money. Okay, you go to your cards, and you have to be laying over other cards, covering the stuff. But I think I don't get it quite right. That is why I don't get many points. But it's like I break in my mind, like trying to get better and better, and I just can't. But it's fun. I like the idea on the game, and I want to get it physically so I can understand better the rules, because without a rule book, I think that is what the thing I need to
Yeah.
to
Did
go
you like
better.
Did you like Seven Wonders too?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
expected a total flop. Sorry, but I don't
Really?
know. Like, okay, I had this game that is for 7 players, and now I had these 7-player games for 2, and I was like,
Mhm.
why? How? Then can you invited me? We were playing, and I was like, oh, so you get the option to do this or do this. I can buy this or buy that. And like in Seven Wonders, I had this technology tree. I can get this for free. But now that I have this track, if I get my thing all over there for the war, I can beat him without the victory point. So let me try that. He didn't let me. But yeah, I'm very impressed with that.
Have you seen that new game on Kickstarter? I think it is, that sort of has that pyramid, the layover cards. The Abraham Lincoln, no, Supreme Court.
Oh,
Unforgiven.
Yeah,
Unforgiven. Yeah.
Unforgiven. Oh, that looks really.
Yeah, that
good.
does look good.
Looks great, but I don't know the team. I'm it's U.S. history. I'm not that familiar with that, and that is why Watergate.
That's what
I
my
have a
wife
friend.
likes. That's what my wife likes. Yeah, you see her, she just jumped in.
A friend loved Watergate. I showed him the Kickstarter, and he said it's just like Watergate, and I went, okay, so you like it, back it, and then we played.
Yeah, but it does have that pyramid card system because it's about the first woman, right, who was sentenced to death in America, Mary Surratt. Yeah. So you're kind of either defending her or trying to get her to die. Yeah. But it looks super interesting with the way the cards work, like you're saying, Tim. Very similar to Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah, that game looks really, really good.
Yeah.
And how about you, Dwayne? What have you been playing lately?
Well, I got my copy of Smartphone Inc. and I've played the solo mode. And I played, my game group showed me how to play it, and I lost horribly, but I understood it. So I got it so I could do the solo mode, and I figured like my wife could, get into it. And so when I first was teaching it to her, I could just see her eyes glaze over. And so I said, okay, here's what we'll do. It has a solo mode. How about you and me team up against Steve? And that way I could show you what we're doing. And because we saw their origins in 2019, and I mean that we never got a chance to play it, but she said she showed interest for it. So I'm like, okay. And then when I finally played, I was like, okay, this is actually a really good game, so she's up for it. Now, I remember last week I was telling you about my shelf game of shame that's still in the wrap, Seven Wonders. Yeah.
Oh, I got something for you.
Yeah. And I wanted to do like Late to the Game, like a series called Late to the Game. So I actually played a game with my game group. We played a Grand Austria Hotel.
Ooh.
That game is great.
Isn't it? It's fantastic.
That shot up like if I ever did a best dice drafting game, that will be like top 2.
Yeah, Grand Austria is fantastic. I love that game.
Yeah, and I know they're supposed to be kickstarting a reprint.
The
Okay.
Wolf,
So
I think, right? An add-on or expansion?
no, it's a total. They're gonna do a whole reprint or
Oh, are
something
they?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be a deluxe, like add-on stuff. But I think the base game's staying the same. Maybe.
Oh, cool.
So you've got the base game now. I think you can just pick up the deluxe bits and pieces and the expansion with the Let's Waltz. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and
Okay.
Smartphone is such a fantastic game. I really, really like
We
Smartphone.
haven't played it. Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah,
played
I
it,
just
but
saw
I
it.
think
Yeah.
Really?
Smartphone is so good.
Does anybody down there in Australia have it yet?
Yeah, I think so, because it was originally Kickstarter, wasn't it? The first
Yeah.
time, and then
Yeah.
it was again on Kickstarter. So I think that there's copies floating around. I don't know why we haven't picked it up. It's always something else shiny.
Oh, yeah. And you played it, Oscar?
No, I saw the video, I think, from Rado. I know a store that has it, but I don't know. At first, I was like, smartphones? More smartphones? Nah. But then after I saw the gameplay, I was okay, it might be good, but I just have to wait until we are really back to the normal kind of way, because I'm not planning on buying a game, a big game, until I can get my people around, because I have High Rise. I wanted to play High Rise. I did, but the last week I was playing High Rise online with the Double Exposure team. I was teaching how to play the High Rise, and I didn't expect the Tabletopia tags. What I expected were to be maybe one and a half hour, when 2.5 hours, and we only had one round.
Wow.
So I noted, introductory game next time, 2 hours.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have High Rise physical, and I want to play it. And until I get to play it at least 5 times, I will not buy another big game.
All right, we're going to hold you to it, Oscar.
And talking about Shelf of Chains, I got a link over there for you to see. I found that maybe 1 month ago. And these tracks, what you have on the Board Game Geek, you tend to put like, I got this on my collection, I got this in my collection. If you track with something what you're playing, this will let you know what are your most played games, what are your less played games, what is your Shelf of Chain. It's fun if you want to try it. I saw a lot of games that, I haven't played. I played that 20 times. So let's say I played that in 2016. Yeah, 20 on May 1st, 2016.
There you go. So in the chat, so Tommy was saying about super skill pin. That's a roll and write, right? Is that the?
Yeah.
It is.
And,
I can't. Yeah, we don't have it yet. Yeah.
In Unmatched.
Unmatched.
I really want to try
super skill, but I don't know the other two.
Well, Unmatched is that one where you have the famous, like, Bruce Lee going up against
that's right.
Some samurai or something like that.
Yeah, in 13 days, isn't that supposed to simulate the Cuban Missile Crisis or something? I think it's a smaller game. I could be wrong. Yeah. Oh, I think he says yes. Okay, the games that I play, I don't know if anybody's played this. It was new to me, and I can't believe I sat on this for so long. Anybody know Oh My Goods?
Oh, I know it.
I've heard of it. I haven't played it.
It seems like something you would love to.
I'm sorry?
It seems like something, when I know of it, I feel like you will love it.
Yeah, Alexander Factor game, card game. Like, for a little card game, it plays like a really big game. I just thought it fantastic. I really enjoyed that. And then a Keyflower. Like, I'm playing it again tomorrow. I just learned it 2 weeks ago, so we're playing it again. And again, I can't believe I did not play that game for so long.
I love that game, yeah. Fantastic.
Have you guys played any other key games?
Keeper? What's a Keeper?
No.
Yeah. Keeper, that's one where they flip, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember.
We didn't like
it
much.
Yeah.
No, we're like, no, back to Keyflower.
Yeah, but the Keyflower, in case you guys, because Dwayne, I don't think you said in Oscar, I don't know, is the cool thing about it is the auction with the different color meeples and behind.
Right.
It's so cool. It's just really, really. And do you know if the theme through all the key games have that same auction?
No, they don't. No.
Oh, they don't.
What's the? I don't actually know what the common element is across all the key.
Well, they have meeples, and the artwork's kind of similar.
Yeah.
But it's quite different, that one. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Keeper was the one with the flipping boards. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we didn't enjoy it for some reason as much. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, but Keyflower for sure. We love that game.
We love that game. We need to get the expansions. They're meant to be quite good.
Oh, with Keyflower. Okay. Yeah. That's going to be my second time, so I'm really looking forward to it because I really just liked, and it seemed to me, maybe I'm wrong, because again, maybe you guys can help me, is the first, because I was like, there's only 4 rounds. I'm like, what can you do? But it's kind of like it all builds up for that last round, right? That's when it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we usually play 3 players, which is really good. That lower player count, which we didn't think, I wouldn't think that it would work so well because it's got that auction mechanism. But yeah, that's a fabulous game.
So let me ask you two about that, because I think is complicated. So since you two mostly play, and I think Dwayne too, right? That's his whole thing with his wife. Mostly 2-player games. What is it like for you when you jump from 2 to maybe 3, 4, or 5?
We're the reverse. We always play 4-player games, actually. And it's not until COVID that we started playing 2-player games or started playing our 4-player games with just the 2 of us.
Oh,
so
okay.
We actually wouldn't just play normally, just the 2 of us. So that's been quite an adjustment, which has opened up a whole new world of the 2-player games that we're getting into. But yeah, I would say 90% of the time we play with 4 players. Yeah.
Which do you prefer?
4-player, big Euros with 4 players. Yeah. That's our sweet spot. Competitive.
I get more competitive when it's just the 2 of us. If there's other people, I'm just like, oh, social, I'm enjoying myself. And when it's the 2 of us, it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
And how about you, Dwayne? Do you play a lot with your wife or with other people?
Well, I like I say, I have a game group that I meet over one of their houses every Friday, and one of the guys in the game group has over 1,000 games. Wow. And he introduces me to a lot of the heavier games. When I play with my wife, I have to make sure that I'm not playing a game that's too heavy. I think the heaviest game she has played with me and enjoyed was Newton. She liked Newton and she liked Gentis. Mm-hmm. I think she likes the deluxe components of Gentis.
Oh, beautiful game, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's the challenge for me, is making sure that it's a game that's approachable, that she likes the theme, that she's able to understand, and I help her through it. But sometimes I prefer playing a little heavier game, especially if it's a new game I haven't played. Mm-hmm. And I've heard, Oscar, you mentioned High Rise. I played it with this game group, and I wasn't a big fan of it.
No.
I went through all this stuff, building the building, and had my building set up, and then somebody came and just destroyed my building, and I didn't get nothing to show for it, and I was not happy.
Well, you got your victory points, and you got some leftovers.
So I was like, yeah, I'm good with this one. Maybe I'll give it another try later, but right now, no.
And how about you, Oscar? What is your kind of player count that you like?
Well, I'm mostly between 3 to 5. On the 2 players, I like the Paris Lights something. What is the name? Paris. Las Luces de Paris. The beer.
Oh yeah, I know that game. It's it's got the polyominoes, right?
Yeah, the Paris La Cité de la Lumière. That is the name. I play that, and I like 2 players games, Patchwork, but I'm more into 3 to 5 maybe. But I like polyominoes games, all the Cottage Garden and all that. 3 games, I love those. And yeah, because then the more players, unless it is a party game, I don't like it. For 7 players, I like Between Two Cities because it's not a cooperative, but it's not like a cutthroat. Take that. You're trying to negotiate with everybody. Like, okay, we can do this. Yes, we can do this. Okay, but below other games with 7 or more, I usually don't unless it's party games like Murder in Hong Kong, Just One. If not, I tend to remain between the 3 to 5. It's easier to control a table and to teach the people when in that number. 6 players is too much.
Yeah, because I think I've been like Amy and Maggie, where because of COVID, I've only really been able to play with one other person. Like we mask up and all that kind of stuff and play, and sometimes I'll play with my wife. But yeah, so I'm dying to play a 3, 4, 5 player game. Doing that, So because again, like smartphone, I don't think I played. No, I did actually. I played it with 4 people once, but I'd like to play those games more to really see if I really like them. Because with just 2 people, to get more of a tell in the game, I guess.
Yeah. For example, High Rise, I like the buildings. I like the spatial element. I like the idea of the game. I played solo like 3, 5, maybe 6 times, and I teached it once, and it was a mess because it was in Tabletopia, and the people somewhere new. I was teaching half in Spanish, half in English, and it was crazy. I ended up totally sore on my throat. But some friends are planning to meet on Sunday, so hopefully this time we will play this. We saw each other like 3 weeks ago, and we played. What is the game? I have this on my cell phone. I have this for that. I have a Scorpal, so I know what I played. We played this game of Kingdom Builder, Pioneer Days, Tiny Epic Dinosaurs.
Pioneer Days. That's a great game.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, my wife loves that game.
And Root, I always hear, oh yeah, Root is great. Oh yeah, Root playing with the little creatures, and I was like, it sounds more like an RPG, and I'm not in RPGs, but well, I was there. We were 4, and we had to play something, and everybody was looking at each other, and I say, is that Root? So we played Root, and it's great. It's good. It's a lot better than what I expected.
Yeah, I've just started learning it because we don't have the board game version, but I started learning on the app, and the app is so beautiful because they've actually like the animation and the music and all of that.
Yeah.
You how to play with each individual faction, so that's really interesting. I've only just played with one, but I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
There's this game that Paul's talking about, Mandala. I've heard of that one.
Yeah, that's when you were building out the mandalas. I believe it's like you've got them in the center of the board. Yeah. So I'm struggling to think of what the actual mechanic is.
Yeah.
Well, mandala.
I've heard about it.
It's Mancala, no? The old game that like
chess. This is a new one.
No, it's a new one, Mandala.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't heard about that one.
Oh,
good. It has like a kaleidoscope look to it.
Yeah.
Pretty much, but I have heard about it.
Yeah. Okay, it's on my list. Yeah. It just never comes down in price. It's too popular.
So how many games do you guys have? How many games do you two have?
You probably know that.
We tend to like move games on. I'm a big believer of like, I don't like to have games sitting around that aren't bringing joy to people. So if we're not going to play them, I usually give them away actually to like friends who like lighter games or that kind of thing. We probably keep on rotation probably about, 200 maybe.
Okay. Oh, very good. Have you heard of this? Because I know you. How about West Presario?
No.
Yeah, that's the sequel to Pioneer Days.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't heard any of those games. All right, guys. So listen. So we're getting close to the end. I just want to go ahead and let everybody talk about what have you got planned on your channel or on your content coming up in the future that everybody can look forward to. Who would like to start?
Well, my next video I want to do, like I try to do our top 5, and this one, you know, fall is my favorite season, so I was gonna do top 5 fall games, like games that I think about playing in the fall, and I'm gonna do a 2-part series because you know most people connect fall with Halloween, so I'm gonna do the 5 games that have nothing to do with Halloween, and then 5 games that, you know, have something to do with Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. How about you, Oscar?
What I'm working, well, I will be doing soon some videos about Agricola because I don't have any video about that. Puerto Rico. But let me see. I have Animal Kingdoms to be premiere the new video for this Friday because I release a video, at least one video. Sometimes like before with High Rise, I put the 4 of them, the solo play and the contents. But this Friday is Animal Kingdoms, and every Friday I schedule at least one video to go live. But yeah, I don't have a video about Agricola, and I haven't here, so I can remember. Okay, I gotta do a video about that one.
Oh, nice. Well, I love Agricola. And Amy and Maggie?
Yeah, so I guess we are starting to think about those top 10 lists. We didn't want to start our channel with them because it's like, well, I don't care what you think. Who are you anyway? So we've been trying to build up our reviews, and now we feel ready to talk about some of our top games. So we're thinking about different themes for those lists. We're also just trying to get more involved with the community of different channels and things. You know, we've been kind of chatting to Meeple University, Stella there, who's also based in Melbourne. So just trying to reach out and experience, I guess, other people's journeys and get, you know, kind of broaden our horizons for content in terms of what we're listening to. Because I think when you're just a viewer, you find people that you resonate with and you just keep watching their same content. But when you move into creation, it's like, oh, that's an interesting perspective, or like that's a different way of doing things. And I think so we've been trying to do a lot more listening. Yeah,
because there's so much out there, isn't there? I mean, there's a lot of people creating a lot of content. Yeah. Let me see. Well, for myself, I'm doing more of the Small Business Chronicles, trying to share some of my experiences, failures, and success with people. And I'm doing a top 10. I was on the Dice Tower about a month ago. I did a top 10 for trick-taking games. So
I remember that.
I'm going to do that again for myself on my channel, but split it up. So 10 through 6 and then 5 through 1. So I can talk a little bit more about it. But yeah, just doing more research and doing so. I'm so glad you guys got a lot out of Tube Buddy because, again, we talked about earlier, all of this is really, for a passion. It's a love of ours. We're never going to get rich off of this thing. Well, we would like to. I mean, that'd be good if we could. But it's so much work to ever get to that point. But yeah, but it's still, you need to know what's going on behind the scenes. At least I find that stuff fascinating. Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining tonight. I really appreciate it. And love to have you back. Again, if you ever know anybody else who you think would benefit from the channel, be part of the whole, just getting exposure, the networking, and like anything that you're going in. I've seen you. I saw you on Jason's show, and I saw you, Dwayne. They Twittered.
My Twitter and weird Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's really good to see. A wonderful group of people in the gaming world is just absolutely fantastic, filled with a bunch of really great people. So it's good to know you guys. All right, well, thank you, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for the invitation.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.